right, ladies and gentlemen, this is week 5 of the Huge Sack podcast. This is where Luke and I discuss uh, the NFL and what's going on, individual games, and give our opinions and thoughts on every team and every game that happened week 5. There are 4 other episodes if you want to back up a couple and go to weeks 1 through 4. You can watch those. This one will be week 5, and then we will continue doing them in the future for hopefully, 17 weeks this year? 18.
17.
17.
Unless you want to include playoffs.
Well, yeah. Okay, so yeah, it'll be like 20 something. Cool. Anyway, so yeah, this is week 5. What did you think about the whole week in general, Luke?
Couple upsets. I made a few bad picks. He caught up to me a little bit in our winning picks. Hopefully, I can widen the gap again on you.
Yeah, I will say a couple of them that I picked that you did not were upsets. For instance, I picked the Bills to beat the Chiefs. You could call that an upset. But I don't know. We'll get into it once we get there, but I actually don't know if that's actually an upset anymore. So, All right, we're going to dive right in. I agree with you. This week had a couple upsets. A lot of close games again, closer than I thought. And I'm telling you, same as last week, everything seems to be narrowing, and nobody's really safe from any team. It seems like anybody can beat anybody right now, and that's one thing that I really like about this season. It's not so in front of you and like normal. I don't know why it's happening this year, because last year it was pretty easy to tell who was going to win what games, but this year it's kind of spotty, I would say. So yeah, we can dive right in. Let's jump into the Los Angeles Rams against the Seattle Seahawks. I watched the second half of this game, and the first half looked pretty boring to me. I think it was 7-3 at half. Yep, 7-3 at half. Seattle was up a really, really defensive first half, and then the second half it seemed like Matt Stafford started to kind of get into form and figure out what he wanted to do for this game. What are your thoughts here, Luke?
Matt Stafford did okay. 365 yards, a touchdown. He did have an interception. Their running game was all right. Let's see, about a total of 118 rushing yards. That's still a little lower than I'd like to see.
Yep.
Didn't spread the ball out too much. Robert Woods, 12 catches, 150 yards. So that's really good for him.
Yeah,
Something I do like is Cooper Kupp is typically their number one receiver.
Yep.
And that's who gets double covered, and he is a humble player. He doesn't care if he gets the ball all the time.
He wants to win.
He's happy that they got the win.
Yep, absolutely.
That's really cool.
And on top of that, hold on. On top of that, Cooper Kupp still put up 92 yards with 7 receptions.
Correct.
So you're double covering him, and you're giving all the long and most of the receiving to Robert Woods, but you're still producing.
Something also I like about Cooper Kupp is I saw a couple plays with him, and he is getting right in there, and he's throwing blocks. He's throwing good blocks, not just the little barely push them like most receivers do.
And actually, I think this duo of these two receivers actually have an internal competition that doesn't have to do with their yards and receptions. It has to do with what kind of you get more points for their little game for laying someone out blocking than you do for scoring a 70-yard touchdown.
Yep.
So I mean, this is a super good team. Uh, the the Rams are, and um, it seems like they're pretty well rounded here. Uh, the Seahawks, they sorry, go ahead.
From what I from what I can see with the Seahawks, they can't really run the ball right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I'm seeing. I don't even recognize the name of their top rusher. I don't know if he's a rookie or what he is, but I I don't recognize the name even.
Yep.
Um, DK Metcalf had a good game. He scored the two touchdowns that the Seahawks had. Uh, a big note though is that Russell Wilson got hurt this game. Tore. It looked. They showed it in
It's
the
a
game. It
tendon.
looked like a dislocation, but he tore some ligament
Yep.
in his middle finger on his throwing hand. So that's why Geno Smith had to come in. Uh, that's going to be a big hit still for the Seahawks. It said
Minimum.
4 to 8
Yep.
weeks for Russell Wilson. So that's
Absolutely.
that's a big
Um,
blow.
Something we can take out of this: Geno Smith played very good.
Yeah,
If you want someone backing you up right now in the NFL, other than a starting quarterback or a quarterback that has started, Geno Smith is a quality second string. He played awesome. I know
I
they didn't
agree
get
with
the
you.
win, but first drive he drove down the field and scored, didn't he?
Yes, I believe he did.
And it was, I mean, it was well put together. He played great. If there's anything the Seahawks can look forward to is hopefully Geno Smith stays with them. I don't know how long Russell Wilson has, and I don't know what that finger thing's gonna do. I get that it could take 4 to 8 weeks or whatever, but that can screw you up for life if he comes back healed and it's not healed right, or if some it could throw Russell Wilson off. So if you got Geno Smith backing you up, you got to feel okay about that too. So I guess we'll see
Yep.
what goes on. When you go over to the team stats, it is all in LA's favor. Um,
Yep.
Nothing crazy. Penalties were pretty high for the Rams, 5 for 85. But they are such a overpowered offense right now that they can get away with that. Um, Couple turnovers from both teams, not a big deal. Time was similar. Not a lot of sacks. Not too much that I dislike about either teams in this case. Russell Wilson probably could have brought this back and made it a closer game. Honestly, this game was closer than it looks. It's just
Yep.
that Russell Wilson thing.
I think the Russell Wilson thing. Both good teams, but Rams were able to pull it off.
Yep. So the LA Rams win this one 26-17 against the Seattle Seahawks. Uh, the Rams are 4-1 now, and Seahawks are 2-3. And we are going to head over to the Jets and the Falcons. Now this one I took the Jets on, and this was just because I needed to get ahead of Luke. I definitely picked wrong. Um, but the Jets did not play too bad.
No, this was a closer game than expected. Uh, First half, it was all Falcons, 20-3 at the first half, and honestly, it kind of looks like the Falcons started to coast a little bit in the second half, which allowed the Jets to bring it back, and Atlanta had to kind of turn it on one more time for the last touchdown to get them that extra 7 points. But Zach Wilson, he's still a rookie. What can you really expect? He didn't have a great game. Their run game overall wasn't great on the Jets. I mean, there's nothing really standing out on the Jets with me. It's just probably poor Falcons defense.
Yep.
Um,
But honestly, if you even go back and you just look at the team stats, the total yards for the Jets is only 230, so it's not like their defense played poorly. There must have the two fumble losses probably come into play a little bit. But I don't know. I guess I didn't fully watch.
No, I watched some of this game that I could, but I was overall surprised at how close it was, and you can clearly see that in the team stats. Atlanta is dominating everything.
Yeah.
Like
Um, yeah, time of possession, 10-minute difference. Your third down efficiency was very, very good out of the Falcons. 9 for 14. You take that any day.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just seemed like the Falcons put together a better game, and the Jets got a couple fumble recoveries that kept them in it. Um,
Yep.
Cordero Patterson, 0 for 1 throwing. That's all right. Try and get him involved in another part of the game. I dislike that, actually. I think that they need to focus on other. I mean, he's your primary person for rushing and for receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Generally,
I mean, who knows? Maybe next week he'll try and kick a field goal too.
right? For real. Matt Ryan played really good. 33 for 45, 342 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Like we said before, Atlanta kind of just is the better team. All their stats are better. New York just got a couple lucky fumble recoveries in my eyes, right?
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, the Falcons win this one 27-20 over the New York Jets. Jets have a young quarterback. Obviously, that's something they're going to have to work on. So the Jets are now 1-4, and the Falcons move to 2-3. This was a game for the lower half of the NFL. So I don't think that there's too much that comes out of this. Neither of these teams are making playoffs in my eyes. So
Yep.
all right. So now we have the Patriots and the Texans. This one is surprisingly close to me too.
I agree.
With how well the Patriots defense played against the Bucks last week, I was kind of surprised that they didn't play that good. Because to me, Houston shouldn't have put up any points. If they played the defense they played last time, Houston shouldn't have put up any points.
Yeah, and the Patriots were kind of playing for something last week, going against Tom Brady, and maybe they see the Texans and how they have been struggling and kind of overlooked them, and that's how it came to. But I don't know. I wasn't surprised with the result. I'm with you. I'm surprised at how close it got.
Yep. So I'm gonna skip over the Patriots because there's nothing crazy about what the Patriots are doing. They're spreading the ball out. Okay. A lot of their players. I mean, your leading rusher only gets 58, and your leading receiver is 75. So nothing crazy about this. But I will say, if you go over to the Texans, Davis Mills played really good. 21 for 29, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I get behind that. That is something you need a player to do as a quarterback. You can win with a quarterback doing that. Chris Moore, there's a lot of young people or people I don't really know on this team. Philip Lindsay needs to step his game up. He is definitely a better player than 5 carries for 19 yards.
Yep.
David Johnson needs to pick it up. I know they're using him a lot more as a receiver than they are rushing, which is fine, especially if you have Mark Ingram and Philip Lindsay. But they need to figure out their rush game. It looks like that's where they're kind of lacking. And honestly, if you go over to the team stats, that's kind of the only one that's in favor of the Patriots is the rushing yards. They have twice as much.
Something I do notice that I guess I don't know exactly when it happened, but Kayami, however you pronounce his name, Fairbairn, the Texans kicker, is 1 for 2. He did end up missing the field goal, so that would have at the very least tied it, and that I don't know if that happened right at the end or
it must have. regardless, we can look at the quarter stats, and it looks like the Texans actually led this game most of the way. Um, and then right at the end in the fourth quarter, they dropped an egg, and New England scored 10. So, I mean,
Yeah.
the game could have went either way. Time of possession super close. 3 for 3 on fourth down for the Texans. Like I said, the Texans I think played pretty good offense. It's just their rushing, dude. They need to figure out their rushing, or else they're not going to win games. And
Hmm.
this is a great example of that statement that I just made. They gotta pick it up. Past that, I don't really have too much to say. Davis Mills played really good. Good for him. They just need to figure out their rushing.
Yep.
So the New England Patriots win this one 25-22. The Against the Houston Texans. The Patriots are now 2-3, and the Texans are 1-4. Luke, if I ever start doing that end of the game thing, and you have something you want to say, just cut me off.
No, nothing really about that one.
Okay, Lions and Vikings. I can talk about this one pretty good. So the Vikings played a very, very, very good first half. They should have gotten away with this one a little easier. Third quarter was nothing. Not much to say about the actual game. If you were just going with 3 quarters, the Vikings win this one pretty easy. Fourth quarter. Now this was a mess. So there was a lot of things that I feel like the Vikings need to work on. The Vikings need to work on not trying to keep a lead. They need to work on growing a lead. They played terrible in the second half, if I'm being honest with you. They need to be a little more aggressive. I was just talking to Lance earlier today, and he asked if Kirk was still the guy, and I said that I think Kirk needs to have a little more aggression. He needs to get some fire behind his eyes, because when he plays like angry, I feel like he plays good. Um, if there are close games, he needs to be angry to win those games. And if they
Hmm.
like, obviously he doesn't need to be if they're up by 25 and the third quarter and they're just coasting. But I feel like he needs to have a little more aggression on the field. Dalvin Cook was injured, so he got limited snaps. No, he didn't. He didn't even play. My bad. Dalvin Cook did not play in this game. Alexander Madison played an awesome game, 113 yards. Justin Jefferson, 7 receptions for 124. These are stats I love seeing. Um, and Cousins played really good. He did throw an interception. The reason he threw that interception was it was a tip ball, so there was nothing. I mean, that's not on him. Greg Joseph missed a field goal, but I believe it was, no, that might have been a chip shot. Regardless, he missed a field.
I think it was a 48-yarder.
Okay, so he did miss a field goal that would have just finished this game. Last couple seconds of the game, we have like 30 seconds to drive down the field. We're down by one, and Kirk Cousins made it happen. Got down the field, and Joseph hit his kick. So that's got to feel good for him after that missed field goal against the Cardinals that we should have won that game. Um, I'm happy about how the Vikings played. They just need to keep going. They need to push with their heads down and just get through. Play the full. What is it? Fucking
60 minutes.
yeah. Play 60 minutes and just be done with it. Penalties weren't that great on the Vikings. 74. Um, Something I will say: Jared Goff did not play good in my eyes, and I think that we're starting to see why Matt Stafford wasn't winning there. It's because, I mean, we saw last week too, in the weeks before. You you got to have a team around your quarterback, even if your quarterback's great. Team stats: the Vikings rolled over everything on that. Time of possession was close. There was a fumble loss at the end that let them score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to get ahead. The Detroit Lions got ahead. Um, nothing really special about this game, other than the end for Greg Joseph. I'm happy that he hit his field goal and won the game for him. Anything you have to say? I was.
Yeah, I feel bad for the Lions. They almost beat the Ravens earlier this week. The only reason they lost is a record-setting 66-yard field goal.
Yep.
They almost beat the Vikings this week,
Yep.
and I really liked how they went for that. 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
They kind of had fire in their eyes. They were, instead of going for the tie, they went for the win, and unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. The defense couldn't stop them to get in field goal range, but I really did like that out of the
Yep.
Lions.
That's a very aggressive play, and they made it work. And I actually like when stuff like that happens. Not against my Vikings, but I did like that play. Um, so I don't have too much else to say about this. Sounds like you're done. Minnesota Vikings win this one 19-17 over the Detroit Lions. The Lions are winless still, and the Vikings improved to 2-3, trying to get to 500. All right. On to the next game. It looks like we have the Eagles and the Panthers, and this one I believe you picked the Panthers. Yes.
I probably did.
Yep. So this one was not surprising to me, if I'm being honest with you. Without Christian McCaffrey, this team is not as good. That's just it. And honestly, last week Philadelphia played really good. So in my eyes, I kind of saw this coming. What are your thoughts here, Luke? I'll let you talk about this one.
I mean, I'm just looking throughout the quarters, and the Eagles were able to score every single quarter. Yep. Not all that much, but I mean, it worked out for them. They just kind of kept chugging along. Jalen Hurts really didn't play that great of a game in my eyes. Nothing stands out to me offensively. Defensively, though, they got 3 interceptions, so that is huge, and that is where Sam Darnold on the Panthers also did very poorly. Like, Jalen Hurts, I didn't think he didn't necessarily do horrible, but not great. Sam Darnold played very poorly in this game. Although without Christian McCaffrey, this C. Hubbard, over 100 yards rushing, good for him. That's a good thing to see. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about this game. Overall it was pretty even. It was a 3-point difference game. Could have gone either way. The 3 interceptions by the Panthers, I think, are the main thing.
Oh, yep. Yeah. Yeah, no, and I agree with you. I mean, if you look at the total yards for these two teams, it's 6 yards different.
6 yards, yep.
And these teams, yeah, it could have went either way. Honestly, though, the Panthers had 10 minutes more with the ball.
And that's where those interceptions come into play. Mm-hmm. And I believe, did the Eagles kick any field goals, or did they? Oh, they did have 2 field goals.
Yep.
The way it looks, it almost is 2 rushing touchdowns and like an interception touchdown is the way that I see it. But
yep, absolutely.
They did end up with.
Yep, I agree with you. So I think all in all, we can just kind of both agree on the fact that both these teams are pretty equal in general. If the Panthers have Christian McCaffrey, I think this goes a different way. If I'm being honest with you, I think that this is easy in favor of the Panthers. But without him, They are similar teams. And the Eagles looked hot last week, and it seemed like they came out with a little bit of that momentum. Carolina came out hot, but they just couldn't keep it together in the in the second half. So Philadelphia Eagles won this one 21-18 over the Carolina Panthers. Eagles are now 2-3. The Panthers fall to 3-2. We can swing over to the next game. It looks like we have the Saints and Washington football team. Not shocked at all about this one. Jameis Winston had a terrible half in the first half. I think he threw a pick in the first half and kind of was like down on himself. He wasn't playing that good. But boy, did he have a monster second half. 4 touchdowns. You got to be happy for him. you're following up Drew Brees, who is, I don't know, questionably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. And Jameis Winston has a lot of people making jokes about him. So he kind of, I'm happy that he can kind of show him that he can play. He deserves a spot in the NFL just like every other quarterback. He's a good quarterback. So, Washington football team, this Heineke, 2 interceptions.
Less than 50% completion percentage.
Kind of rough on their side. Honestly, their score looks better than it was. It must have been the rushing. If you go to the team stats, Washington's rushing was really good.
Yeah.
This
and I remember I kind of talked about this one, and it's going to be interesting to see this upcoming week. It's the Saints seem to be doing well on odd numbered weeks, and then kind of shit in the bed on even numbered weeks. So it'll be iffy to see on what happens come week 6.
right.
But I mean, the Saints, they played a good game, and realistically, I would have picked them if they weren't. Like, Washington has been doing all right this year, but
Well, let's back up a second. Washington controlled the ball as fuck. Okay, they had 36 and a half minutes with the ball. I think the interceptions are probably part of the reason why they lost, if I'm being honest. Because Washington honestly should have won this game. If you look at the stats and just think about the actual total of the game, they played really, really good on it. They played better than the Saints, and the Saints were just able to pull it away at the end there. So, yeah, I don't have too much to talk about. We'll see kind of what these teams do. Honestly, I don't see either of these teams making playoffs either.
I agree.
So, I guess we'll see next week, and we'll kind of go from there. So the New Orleans Saints win this one 33-22 over the Washington football team. The Saints are now 3-2, and Washington is 2-3. And then our next game is, who do we got? Looks like we got the Titans and the Jags, and this one doesn't shock me one bit.
Not at all.
I'll let you.
It'll be interesting to see with the Jaguars as well as the Lions when or if they even get their first win this year. Yep. Tannehill didn't do too. I mean, he had a touchdown and then just under 200 yards passing. You can't stop Derrick Henry. I don't know if there's a defense in the entire NFL that can stop Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
130 yards for him, which is honestly a little low, but he did have 3 touchdowns. Nothing overly impressive with the pass game, receiving game, like I said. Jaguars, it's...
I will say, I think Trevor Lawrence is getting better each week. I don't think that he is a great quarterback yet, or even a good quarterback yet, but I think that he is improving. And I think that that's a good thing to see.
I like the rushing out of the Jaguars.
Yep.
They actually outrushed the Titans.
I see that.
It's good to see that some of the teammates are stepping up to help this young quarterback, and you can't put it on the young quarterback. You need to have a rush game, and I'm glad to see that for him at least.
If I'm being honest with you, if you go over to the team stats, they're all in favor of the Jags.
They are.
And I guess what we can take from this is third down efficiency is not great out of the Jags. And your 2 turnovers. If if they don't make those turnovers, I feel like this game is very close.
I think so too.
I am actually kind of surprised at the team stats here because the Jags, I'm not saying that they're a bad team, but they don't look that good this year. And they outperformed, just couldn't get the win, it looks like the Titans. They outperformed them in general offense. Um, I think it comes down to the two turnovers, which give you what 14, so you're up to 33. Is that right? 33 with 14 on top of 19. Yeah. So you can at least make it close if you don't turn the ball over and you score on those two drives. But I don't know. I'm like I said, Derrick Henry's a beast. Tennessee is one of those teams that you can't mess up with, or else they're going to take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else on this one, Luke?
Nope.
All right, Tennessee Titans win this one 37-19 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tennessee is now 3-2, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are 0-5, still winless. We can swing over to the next game. Looks like we have the Bucks and the Dolphins, and I liked this game because my quarterback in fantasy got me almost 40 points to beat Luke.
Phil's a bastard.
Tom Brady played a great game. Tom Brady played a great game. He threw for 5 touchdowns again. Can't complain about that. 400 yards passing, 0 interceptions. Great quarterback. Leonard Fournette did okay rushing. Rushing in general for the Buccaneers was fine. As spread out. No rusher was like exceeding expectations. Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, both over 100 yards. And then Godwin was pushing that as well. That's just a well put together team. The Bucks are really good. The Dolphins side, you can't really. This Brissett didn't play bad. Yep, he didn't play bad. 27 for 39, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That one interception is a little blemish, but that's not a bad game. A lot of quarterbacks throw interceptions. Rushing is very, very, very poor on the Dolphins side. Their passing was okay, very spread out, and it was okay, good enough to keep them. Good enough for 17 points, apparently. Kicking was fine. Team stats, rushing is fully in favor of the Bucks. Everything is in favor of the Bucks, but it's the rushing that kind of turns it over. And actually, the passing was very aggressive in favor of the Bucks too. Everything was in favor of the Bucks. 301 yards total for the Dolphins compared to 550 from the Bucks. That's just a great team. They didn't turn the ball over. Dolphins turned it over twice. Penalties were in. The Bucks didn't even have to go for it on 4th down. So yeah, time of possession, 37 minutes for the Bucks. Obviously, they're just taking over games that they should win. This is a game they should have won, and they did.
Yep. You always like to see it when you're up far enough that Tom Brady actually got pulled toward the end. They put in the backup because there was no way that the Dolphins were coming back.
Yep.
You don't like Tom Brady, but it's good to see that when your team is doing that.
Yep, absolutely. So the Tampa Bay Bucks win this one over the Miami Dolphins 45-17. Nothing shocking here. This is what's going to keep happening if the Tampa Bay Bucks play a team that's not performing good enough. Miami drops to 1-4, and Tampa Bay goes up to 4-1. And we can swing over to the next game. I believe we have your game. Go ahead and talk, Luke. Packers and Bengals.
This game was closer than it should have been. The Packers did all right. Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers things. 345 yards, 2 touchdowns, the 1 interception's a blemish. Aaron Jones over 100 yards rushing. Um, Pushing the ball to Devontae Adams like usual. Over 200 yards receiving for him. So that's huge. I believe he is the top receiver in the league right now.
Yep.
Bengals. Joe Burrow, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Not great running. 159 yards receiving for Jordan Chase, I believe. Jay Chase. I don't know the first name.
It's Jamar.
Jamar. I like Jordan. We're going to call him Jordan.
Fuck it.
The big thing with this game, because everything overall is in favor of the Packers, it got so close because in the final, what was it? The final
212. It was 212.
Well, the final 5 minutes of play or something, there was a combined 5 missed field goals. And
it was from 2 minutes and 12 seconds left in regulation.
Just overall, that was a big wow.
Yeah.
And did not like that. Hate having to truly rely on the kicker. You know that for sure with your Vikings. That was a scary one to watch. I'm happy the Packers pulled it off. Mason Crosby figured it out right at the end to make that final field goal. A lot closer than it should have been. I think the Packers are a much better team than the Bengals. But the Bengals played pretty well. They played with them.
Yep.
I don't really have much more to say. Hopefully the Packers can figure out that kicking and still need to figure out their defense a little bit.
Yep. I think what I can take from this game is that the Bengals are a similar team to the Vikings in the sense that they play to their opponents. They played good enough to keep him in the game. And that's how the Vikings have been playing as of late. But I will say the kicking was pathetic at the end. We were texting and I asked, or you said it was windy, and I was like looking at the flags on the goalposts, and I was like, they're not moving. So I guess a little bit, but it wasn't crazy windy. They were just missing, and I think they were both kind of in their own heads about it because Mason Crosby missed 3? Is that right?
I believe so.
And then this other guy, what did he? He missed 2. He's 0 for 2. Evan McPherson went 0 for 2 on the day, and then Crosby 4 for 7. Dude, that's so bad. You gotta hit field goals. And honestly, fucking Green Bay should have scored on there. They had a 20-yard field in overtime. They should have scored a touchdown. And then they missed a 37-yarder?
It was a close one for most NFL kickers.
And I'm sorry, did they kick on 3rd down?
They did.
Why? Because they didn't want to get put. That's how much offense confidence they have. They didn't want to get pushed back farther.
I couldn't tell you what goes through the minds of those coaches.
Run the ball and be. I don't know. I was just not impressed with the kicking. They need to figure that out. Both teams. That was pathetic. It was really fun to watch them continue to miss because it was like, all right, who's gonna hit it? But yeah, that's all it was. The Packers did play better. The Packers deserved to win this one. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. Green Bay wins this one. Green Bay Packers win this one 25-22 over the Cincinnati Bengals in overtime. Packers are now 4-1, and they are fully leading the NFC North. Cincinnati drops to 3-2. Still a good team for some reason. A winning record out of the Bengals. What are we seeing? I'm seeing a lot of 3-2s and 2-3s right now for these teams. Like in this year. Uh, so next we're going to jump to the Broncos and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This one kind of surprised me, if I'm being honest with you, because Pittsburgh looked like dog shit the first 4 weeks.
Looked pretty bad to me too. I don't know if Big Ben's he is getting old, so it just took him this long to wake up.
Yeah,
But he played a good game. They had a really good rushing game too. The Steelers did, and
yep.
they
I guess
scored every quarter.
I guess what I'm thinking in my head is that the Broncos kind of need to regain because they're not a bad team. The Broncos are definitely a good team. They're good enough to win. They're good enough to beat the Steelers. So the problem is that I think that they, first of all, they're working with a Teddy Bridgewater, which you don't know if he's going to play or not every week. Um, we got same thing as last week. You got a notification that his status changed from questionable to active, like right before the game. So you gotta wonder, is he still dealing with some stuff? But this team isn't bad, and they need to regain quickly. Otherwise, it's gonna quickly slope into. I mean, they're on a losing streak right now. They
Mm-hmm.
started 3-0. They're 3-2 now.
Yep.
So they got to pick it up a little bit. Honestly, if you go to the team stats, they're not that far apart. Both teams are pretty dead even. It's just the rushing out of Pittsburgh. Their rushing was very good this week. Um, one turnover each. Time of possession was in Pittsburgh's favor, but that happens when you rush the ball.
Yep.
So I am okay with that. Uh, Third down efficiency was not that great on Denver's end. I don't know if they were getting put in a lot of third and longs, but they weren't converting too often. Yeah, I don't have too much else to say on this as well.
Well, I mean, if this is truly going to be Big Ben's last season, it's kind of good for him that he's starting to turn it on. Hopefully, he keeps it up.
Yep,
But
I agree.
good game by the Steelers.
Yep, absolutely. So the Pittsburgh Steelers win this one 27-19 over the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos dropped to 3-2, and they are on a 2 losing streak, which is something they're gonna have to figure out. Pittsburgh Steelers are now 2-3, so they're kind of they're starting to figure it out a little bit, which is good, and I'm hoping to see them kind of pick it up again because they have a really good team as well.
Mm-hmm.
Next we have the Bears and the Raiders, and I'll be honest with you, shocking to me.
I am surprised as well. Uh, other than the fact that I heard just today and yesterday about John Gruden, the head coach of the Raiders, resigning due to emails and text messages with uh, homophobic and racial type slurs.
Oh no.
Um, I don't know if they had kind of been getting in on that before this week, and that they just weren't. The Raiders weren't probably in the right mindset here, and I now with John Gruden gone, because this was year 4 of his 10-year contract, and those first couple of years he was rebuilding, and this really looked like it was going to be a good season for him, and now this comes out. I honestly don't really have any hope for the Raiders anymore.
Yep. And I feel like this is a constant. This is almost an every year thing for the Raiders. You always have hope for them in the first couple weeks, and then some bullshit happens. Last couple years, it's been Derek Carr getting injured, or it's tough to see this franchise do that because there are a lot of people that aren't fans of the Raiders that want to see the Raiders perform and do good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will say is Khalil Max still with the Bears?
I believe he is. Yeah, he is. He had 7 tackles, 1 assist, and 1 sack.
So I mean,
He is the leading defensive guy on the Bears.
maybe there's a little aggression towards that, little bit of anger, because I know that they traded him away.
They did.
So I don't
The
know.
Bears did end up giving him a very big contract.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, but I mean, there could still be something behind that. Back to the actual game. Team stats are rushing is mostly the biggest thing for me. The Bears controlled time and the ball with their rushing game. Bears played better in general. Raiders threw a pick. Nothing crazy about this. I think that what you said, they probably had some internal things happening that kind of just took them.
internal things and the Bears and the both of them seemed like they might have been a little just kind of pissed off at the world. This was a dirty game. 18 penalties for over 150 yards in total.
Yep. Yeah. No, and yeah, these aren't. I mean, I don't. This is just a weird game to me. I don't think that the outcome should have been what it was, but I don't know. I didn't know about this stuff happening with their Raiders head coach, so I would assume that that's what it is because they're better than that. And
Yeah, and I guess we'll have to see what happens with the interim head coach in these upcoming weeks, and
yep, see
just
what
gonna have to see how it goes.
happens with that. I know that I think it helps that the Broncos lost the game too, so now they can kind of you know be at each other's throats. It's not like the Broncos are going to take a lead against them; they're going to drop down to dead last. So um,
Mm-hmm.
at least they have a couple wins under their belts to keep them in it for a couple more weeks until we can start talking about like elimination from playoffs. But um,
Yep.
yeah, so the Bears win this one 20-9 over the Raiders. The Bears are now 3-2, and the Raiders are also 3-2. We can swing over to the next game. It looks like we have the Browns and the Chargers. And this one, I picked you both picked the Chargers for this one. Chargers. This Herbert looks real good, man, real
Yes,
good. 26 for 43, 398 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. You are loving that as a Chargers fan. It's fun to see. The last time this Chargers team was relevant was with LT. So I'm happy that they're doing some work here. Um, Mike Williams played really good, 160 yards receiving. Rushing was nothing spectacular from the Chargers. If you go over to the Browns, Baker Mayfield played a pretty good game, 23 for 32, 305 yards and 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Nick Chubb, 160 yards rushing. That's going to happen. Then you have Kareem Hunt rushing for 60.
I
It's
do think that the Browns have the best running back tandem in the
yep,
league right now.
yep,
A lot of teams typically go with the one running back, and when they have two, it's one does well, the other does bad.
yep.
Both Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are doing fantastic. This is the best running back duo in the league at this point.
Yep, I agree with you on every level there. Looks like they're spreading out. No, they're not. It looks like their passing is kind of turning towards this David Njoku.
I
Um,
think that's their tight end.
is it okay? Well, he probably had some big play. 7 receptions for 149 yards. Um, something I'm noticing is this Odell Beckham Jr. 2 for 20. I don't like that. Use him more. Like you paid all this money for him, and you get him over on this team. And I get that he was injured, but you have him to use. Use him. You know he's
Mm-hmm.
good. I don't know if they're double teaming him or what, but they shouldn't be because there's a lot of weapons on this receiving side. So if you go over to the team stats, passing in favor of the Chargers, which that looks to me like it's the reason why they won this game is their passing. But everything else was Cleveland Browns. Their rushing is unbelievable. 230 yards. That's great. They need to keep that up, and they'll keep winning.
Mm-hmm. And this was a close game. It was 5 points. Um, Total plays exact same. Chargers got two more first downs. Browns were a little less efficient on third down. Uh, the Chargers did have 3 for 3 on fourth downs. Um, this this is kind of one of those fun games. It would have been nice to watch because it's a shootout, but
It isn't though.
oh,
Back up a
oh,
second. Uh,
no, I guess you're right. You are right. The Chargers brought it way back.
dropped
And
26 in the fourth quarter. Holy
mhm.
fuck, dude.
But I got to be honest with you, both of these teams' defenses, they need to be running laps. You should not be scoring this many points.
No, it's almost 90 points between both teams. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Both of those defensive coaches on both teams, you send those players out, they're gonna run laps, do push-ups.
Yeah.
That this is
Yikes.
not a defensive game at all.
No. I am just shocked at I just like went over the team stats and looked up at the quarters in the fourth quarter, 26 points. And honestly, Cleveland was scoring in the fourth quarter too, so it's not like it was just all like one-sided. That fourth quarter, I bet, was nuts. I didn't watch it either, but I'm gonna have to go and rewatch that shit because that's crazy. You're putting up 41 points in a quarter between the two teams. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Nothing else to say on this one. The offenses were just firing on all cylinders the way they should. The Chargers, to me, seem like they're a passing team anyway. And obviously we know that the Browns are a running team, so they outperformed the other team in those aspects. So close game, incredible fourth quarter out of both teams, and just I bet it was probably a very fun game to watch.
I do think both of these teams are going to be playoff contenders at least.
Absolutely, I agree with you. So the Los Angeles Chargers win this one 47-42 over the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are now 3-2, and the Chargers are 4-1. We can swing over to the next game. It looks like we have the Giants and the Cowboys. This one doesn't surprise me.
Not surprised.
Nope. Looks like they used two quarterbacks. Daniel Jones must have left halfway.
Three or
one of them.
How many is? Yeah, that's.
He's a receiver.
Two quarterbacks.
Yep. Yeah, I don't see anything crazy special about this game. If you go over to the team stats, rushing was just so much in favor of Dallas. 201 yards rushing. If you go to Dak Prescott's, he's played okay. 22 for 32, 302 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Zeke played pretty good, 110 yards rushing on 22 carries and a touchdown. Lamb, now this is actually where I kind of like, they're spreading out to 3 receivers. Lamb, Schultz, and Cooper are all above 50 yards passing, but below 100. So they're spreading the ball out as well. Dallas is probably top 5 teams in the NFL for me right now. They are playing really good. And they're kind of a scary team. Giants, I expected them to lose this. They actually outperformed what I thought they would do. But nothing crazy about this game. I don't know if you have any comments on this one.
I don't know. The only thing is I don't know what the hell is going on with Saquon Barkley. 2 rushes for 9 yards.
Yeah.
I no idea what's going on, and I don't even really want to speculate. Just
right. I'm indifferent about it. If he got injured, that's understandable, but if he's not injured, that's unacceptable. So, yeah, okay. So Dallas Cowboys won this one 44-20 over the New York Giants. This is expected. I would not expect anything other than this outcome. The Giants are now 1-4, and the Cowboys are 4-1. We can swing to the next game. It looks like we have the Cardinals and the 49ers. Trey Lance, baby.
Yep. was not surprised with the outcome of this game. It's Trey Lance got in the game, and Garoppolo is injury prone. Um, Something I don't really like is that he is rushing as much as he is, like
Yep.
typical NDSU quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Granted, he's young, he can take a couple hits. Something I really do like about Trey Lance is that he is spreading out the ball amazingly. His top receiver with 58 yards had 3 receptions.
Yep.
Went 3-3, 2-2, 2-2, and 1.
And
And
part of
that
me.
could be because he doesn't have a rapport with
Yep.
the receivers quite yet,
Yep. Yep.
which that could hurt. But at the same time, nobody knows which receiver he's going to throw the ball to.
Yeah,
He's going to throw the ball to
he
the
doesn't
open
have
receiver.
he doesn't have those connections that typically you see in the NFL right now. So that is good. I do like that. First start for him, I thought he performed good. I thought he did good. You're playing undefeated 4-0 Arizona Cardinals team, and you're coming in your rookie season starting a game against them. Can't complain about a 7-point loss. Too much. I mean, obviously, but
Yeah.
and if you go look at the team stats, your rushing yards are in favor of the 49ers. Passing yards are barely in favor of Arizona. Honestly, the game was very close in every way. I think it just came down to a couple. Must have been last person with the ball there. Arizona scored at the end, or I don't even know how this happened, but it's closer than I thought it would be with a rookie quarterback coming in with Trey Lance. Trey Lance played a lot better than I thought he was going to, if I'm being honest with you. But and then Kyler Murray, 22 for 31, 239 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. That's not crazy out of him, but enough to get the job done. DeAndre Hopkins didn't play great, but he played okay, good enough. Nothing special about this game, if I'm being honest with you. This was a kind of a bland game, kind of what everybody expected, and that's that. Garoppolo needs to get healthy again, I guess, because he's been injured a long time now. He continues to get injured. He's injury prone, apparently.
Yes, he is.
So, Arizona Cardinals win this one 17-10 over the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers are now 2-3, and the Arizona Cardinals remain the only undefeated team in the NFL. All right, we got the Bills and the Chiefs next, and this one was a banger. You watched it, right, Luke?
Yes, I watched some of it.
Okay, so now let me just back up a second. To me, it felt like Buffalo just had like this like that anger that I want to see out of Kirk. The entire team had. They played unbelievable. Josh Allen played awesome. 15 for 26, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Okay. The defense played awesome. They picked the ball off twice and recovered 2 fumbles. Kansas City turned the ball over 4 times. The Chiefs don't do that. I mean, these Bills just looked like they needed this win. Stephon Diggs wasn't even the leading receiver, but he played awesome too. 2 receptions for 69 yards. You have this Dawson Knox with 117 passing or receiving yards, I guess. Problem with the rushing, obviously. Your leading rusher is still Josh Allen, or is Josh Allen. And what did they do? Like 120 yards rushing. But the Chiefs didn't do great on their rushing end. Tyreek Hill played crappy in my eyes. For Tyreek Hill, he should be averaging over 20 yards a pass, if I'm being honest. But a lot of this comes down. Travis Kelce didn't play that great either. He did score a touchdown, but Patrick Mahomes just looked rough, dude. And this is where I'm at. Okay, I said it earlier. I don't know if picking a team to beat the Chiefs is an upset anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of starting to get with you, and Patrick Mahomes leading rusher on the Chiefs as well.
Yeah.
He's starting to try and put everything on himself, and can't do that. It's not a one person sport. That's an 11-man team, and the other guys need to kind of pick it up because overall, Patrick Mahomes is always going to do Patrick Mahomes things. He is a great quarterback. It's just his receivers aren't necessarily getting open. His run game's not great. They need to kind of figure it out over there.
Yep, absolutely. And we can back up a second here. Buffalo scored 38 on Kansas City, who only scored 20. And they had 10 penalties for 103 yards. The Bills did.
Well, I mean, their fan base, they're called the Bills Mafia. I don't know if
Let's break some tables.
I don't know if there's a reason behind that. They're kind of a dirty team, or
I don't know, dude. They came out with aggression in this game. I'm telling you, it had to do with last season in playoffs. They came with that aggression still. They all played with a chip on their shoulder the entire game. They played outstanding. I'm very on board with the Bills here. I joined the Bills Mafia too. They played great. The Chiefs did not. And I don't know if the Chiefs are just having a bad game. But you can't keep saying that every week if they're a bad team. They're not a bad team, but you get what I'm saying.
I do. There's just maybe it's just like a mental block or something. They need to figure out what they're doing over there.
Yeah, maybe this
They're
is
not a bad team.
maybe this is a similar thing to what Aaron Rodgers did when he gave his relaxed speech. You know what I mean? You guys started the season poorly, and you had to play through wild card and win a Super Bowl. Is that correct?
Yep, back about what was that? About 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, they're buddies. They both do State Farm commercials.
State Farm. Damn right.
Maybe Patrick Mahomes needs to talk to Aaron Rodgers and kind of go talk to the more veteran player and figure out how to relax and just figure it out.
Yep, absolutely. Buffalo Bills came out hot, and they played hot throughout the game. Kansas City didn't look that great through the whole game. So that's why we get the score we do. Buffalo Bills win this one 38-20 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Buffalo is now 4-1, and Kansas City is 2-3. I bet you did not expect that we would be saying that right now, did you, Luke?
Did not.
Yeah. All right, so we go to the Ravens and the Colts. This one does not surprise me, the outcome, but I am very surprised with the first half. It looked like Carson Wentz played a hell of a half. And actually, first three quarters.
He played a hell of a game. Over 400 yards passing for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's done that since college.
Yeah. No, he played really good, and actually the Colts played really good. And this was something that you want to see out of this Colts. You have a lot of disbelief in this Colts franchise, and Carson Wentz is not a bad quarterback. He is very injury prone, and he's not as good as I think we thought he was. But I think that this game showed that he can still play, and he still deserves a spot starting in the NFL. Rushing was average for the Colts. Receiving good. Jonathan Taylor played really good. This Pittman Jr. played good. Ball was spread out. So Carson Wentz is doing that right. If you go over to the Ravens, Lamar played a better game. And that's the problem, is that you're playing Lamar Jackson. He's going to throw for 442 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And He had his tight end at almost 150 yards, top receivers over 120 yards, 2 touchdowns each for both of those, and
Yep.
they the Colts should have tried to figure out how to cover those two guys, I guess.
Yep. And then on top of that, can we just discuss the fact that their 100-yard rushing streak is now over? They did not hit 100 yards rushing this game because okay, back up a second. The reason why they couldn't cover these guys is because they had two cornerbacks that are from their practice squad. The Colts are playing their practice squad players in their secondary. Yep. So that is probably why. And if you have passes that are open like that, obviously you're going to throw the ball. Why do you need to rush? So the reason this is so funny to me is that they against, was it the Broncos on the last play, rushed for 5 yards to get a tie on that record?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think that they would have rushed the ball a couple more times, get 15 more yards, and beat the record?
See, the thing is, they couldn't. Indianapolis did play a good game. The Ravens actually had to come back just to bring this game into overtime.
Yeah. Yeah, no, okay. Yep, I see that now. I get that. Yeah. Um, Lamar turned on in the fourth quarter, and that's why we got the result we got. I don't know. What do you have anything else to say? The Colts played a really good game, and
they played really well, especially with those backups and practice squad players. If they have their starters, maybe it's a different outcome. I think the Ravens maybe are having some issues, but it's Lamar Jackson can kind of turn it on like that.
yep,
Because the Ravens, they almost lost to the Lions.
yep,
So I don't know exactly what's going on there. The records don't show it. The Ravens are 4-1. The Colts are 1-4. But they, I don't, not necessarily for the Colts, but the Ravens could be at 2-3 right now,
yeah,
easily.
yep. I agree with you. And this is a very good example of me saying that everything's like tightening up in this NFL, and anybody can beat anybody because the Colts could have won this game. They should have won this game against a Ravens team that you expect to win this game.
Yep.
So I'm not. At a point, I'm gonna have to not be shocked if there's upsets every week because it's looking like that's what this season's gonna be, is a bunch of upsets, and then whoever gets through gets through. You know. So I guess we'll kind of see where it takes us. Baltimore Ravens win this one 31-25 over the Indianapolis Colts in overtime. Colts are now 1-4, and the Ravens are 4-1, and that is all of our games for this week. And I don't know, this week was kind of an eye opener for a couple teams. Chiefs stand out to me, just being not as good as they were or what we thought they were. The Bengals played a very good game. The Chargers played incredible. The Bills played awesome. Raiders need to figure it out. A lot of weird shit going on in the NFL. In my eyes, this was an odd week.
Yeah.
I guess we could jump right into our picks if you're okay with that, Luke.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we got week 6, Bucks Eagles. I'm taking Bucks.
Yes, sir.
Dolphins Jags. I'm gonna go with the Jags on this one.
I kind of want to say the Jaguars because this looks like it is another London game, and Jaguars are the team that go over there every single year. But I can't go with the Jags yet. I'm going to stick with the Dolphins.
Okay. Vikings Panthers. I'm going Vikings.
I better go Panthers. I don't. The Vikings are so up and down too, and I know the Panthers are going to be starting to be iffy too. Both of these Dolphins, Jaguars, Vikings, Panthers. They're kind of toss ups to me.
Okay.
So I am Panthers on that one.
Chargers, Ravens. I'm going to go with Chargers.
Chargers, yes, sir.
Rams, Giants, Rams.
Yep.
Texans, Colts. I'm going Colts.
Yep.
Chiefs, Washington. I think the Chiefs bounce back.
I think so too. I mean, I hope the Chiefs bounce back. I think Washington is a good team to bounce back against.
Mm-hmm. Packers, Bears. You're going Packers.
I am going Packers.
I think divisional game. Where is it at? It's in Chicago. I'm gonna go with Chicago. Is that mean of me?
No, it's supposedly the biggest, or at least the oldest rivalry in the NFL.
Yep.
That one is almost always could be a toss-up.
Yep.
So
Bengals, Lions. I'm gonna take the Lions on this one.
I'm gonna stick with the Bengals.
Oh, yeah, you think they're good now, huh? Because they almost beat you guys. They did beat the Vikings, so. Cardinals, Browns. Oh,
I'm gonna go Cardinals.
I'm gonna go Browns on this one because the Cardinals' defense isn't that great.
They're not as bad as you think, though.
I know, but like just the rushing, I think is gonna open it up for the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys, Patriots is the Cowboys all day.
Yep.
Raiders, Broncos. I'm going with Broncos.
As am I.
Lance is going to this game.
Lance is gone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. This is going to be the first week truly without their actual head coach. So they're still going to be having problems, I think.
Seattle Steelers. I'm going Seattle.
I'm going Steelers.
The reason I'm going to go Seattle is because it's not just because my fiance is a Seattle's fan, but I would have either way because of that. But what I'm saying is I think Seattle's going to bounce back and win this one. Bills.
They still have a backup quarterback. So he did well, but we'll see how it goes.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that. Whatever. I'm going to keep going with Gino. Bills, Titans. This is a showdown. Holy fuck, dude. I'm going to go Bills, but
I'm going to stick with the Bills as well.
I think that this could go either way as well. Yeah.
Depends on how much of a fire is under Derrick Henry's butt, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. But also the Bills could get big-headed here because I know they have a lot of hotheads on their team. So, All right, so that was our Week 6 predictions. I don't know, Luke. You want to send us off again, or you want me to?
Nah, that was you. That's your thing.
All right.
That was too scary last week.
All right. Thank you guys again for watching or listening, enjoying however you guys are. I appreciate it. We both do. This is a fun thing for Luke and I to do, and we appreciate the support that we've been getting from you guys. If you guys want to go check out our past episodes, they're on my YouTube channel. It's in a playlist called Huge Sack Podcast. You guys can also follow me on social medias, Nugget Hole 24 or Nugget Hole or whatever. On Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Go ahead and follow, subscribe, do what you need to. And we will be back next week with some Week 6 action.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah, have a good one, guys.